With my pranams to Sri Ramakrishna, let us begin with the next parable. As we have seen, the parables can help us to improve our values, to rethink and reapply our values. It can also benefit us by teaching us the language. Since we are reading the parables in English, we can always aim for improving our English. Today, we have the parable, The Chameleon. I'm sure all of you have the book by now, in which case you might be reading the parables on your own. Today's parable, I will show you by screen sharing as usual. The first part of the parable in this part, and then the next parable, the next part, that is part 2 of the parable, we will talk about when we discuss the value orientation in the parable. So let us see this parable called The Chameleon. Once a man entered a wood and saw a small animal on a tree. He came back and told another man that he had seen a beautiful red-colored animal. The second man contradicted this and said that he had seen it too, but it was yellow. Other people came and contended that it was blue, green, violet, and so on. They started quarreling amongst themselves. At last, they went to a man sitting under the tree. He said, "Yes, I live under this tree and see the animal all the time. All of you are correct. Sometimes the animal is red, yellow, blue, violet, and so on. And sometimes it is colorless. It is a chameleon." So we can see how a simple story of people seeing what they think their eyes are telling them. We often find this, people saying that whatever I see, whatever I feel, that is the only truth. There is nothing else which can be true. So whatever you feel might not be true. Whatever I feel or whatever I see is right. Whatever you see is not right. Many of our quarrels, many of our fights, many of our conflicts are all with these ideas. The idea that whatever I know is best. Sri Ramakrishna puts it in this beautiful story by saying that you might only see a part of the truth. You might not really see the whole truth. So with the part of the truth, if you're asserting that only I am correct, then it cannot be right, because certainly there are other parts which you are missing out. He would often give a wonderful example by saying that everybody thinks their watch is right, but nobody is willing to admit that my watch might be 1 minute fast or yours might be a minute slow. We are not able to think that. We think only what I think, only what I say, or only what I perceive. That is all that is true. So that is the gist of this story. And he has used it in a very simple, very appealing way by talking about the chameleon as changing colors. It changes colors. Sometimes it is colorless. This is nature's glory, which we see Nature is so beautiful that we can see so many truths in nature. Sri Ramakrishna uses this natural truth to teach a valuable lesson. But that we will do in the second part. Let us talk about the story from the language point of view today. Now you can see how the word chameleon is pronounced. Very important to get it correctly as chameleon. You might notice also on the screen that, here H is missing. Here the spelling chameleon is right. Here the H is missing. So when you see such a thing, immediately you need to correct yourself. I remember recently I was telling somebody, they're typing and they have sent the examination answers without looking at this. Unlike your handwriting, your computer is telling you what is right and what is wrong. So in my hurry, I did not check this, and you can see a red line there. These are methods of improving, because we improve by making mistakes. Unless we make mistakes, we can never improve. So you can see this is a wonderful example of spelling. Another example of learning spelling from this sheet, which I'm sharing with you as a screen, is a variation of spellings. Today we have two major versions of English which are being used. One is the British English, where the language originated, that is Britain. And the other is the American English, where the language has become more popular because number of speakers are more. The computer programs are mainly from America, so they are using American English. The word color, C-O-L-O-R, is what is used in American English. In British English, we use C-O-L-O-U-R. So U is missing. Similarly, in a word like favor, F-A-V-O-U-R, then a word like honor, H-O-N-O-U-R, and a word like neighbor, N-E-I-G-H-B-O-U-R. So wherever we say O-U-R ending, there it is British English. That is British pronunciation. A British spelling, I'm sorry, not pronunciation. British spelling. Where we remove the U, because the U is not really being pronounced. We are saying color. We are not pronouncing kalaur. Au is not being pronounced. So U is removed from the spelling. The pronunciation remains the same as color in both, but the spelling changes. When we become aware of such changes by looking at these forms, we immediately learn that these two versions of English, both acceptable, both respected, but we should keep to one form. When we are writing, when we are making a project report, or we are presenting, we must remember that either we should use throughout our document only British spelling, or we should use throughout our document only American spelling. You can choose on your computer. Suppose you say UK, then you get the British version. So when you are making a document, when you're making a file, if you choose UK, you will get C-O-L-O-U-R. If you choose US, then you get C-O-L-O-R. Such examples of spellings are plenty. We have many such examples of spellings. Today, since we have come across one, I have told you about this. But by looking up this one spelling, one difference of spelling, you can find a whole list. Search, Google search, differences between British and American spellings. You will find a whole list of words, and you will find how the British spell it and how the Americans spell it. If you are mainly using the computer, you will use the US spelling. If you're writing exams in India, most of our universities still follow British spellings. So we keep in, to the British version. But in one line, you write COLOUR. In the next line, you write COLOR. These are not allowed. You have to change either the entire thing to British or the entire thing to American. This we have to learn very carefully. I remember our very, well-known, popular, famous, and meticulous Swami Ranganathanandaji. He's the one who insisted, whenever I would write as a student, he would check that document, he would check the presentation. And once he told me that you cannot write changing the spelling British and American as you want. Civilization, Americans spell it with a Z and the Britishers spell it with an S. So SATION, ZATION, this differences. If you change the spelling, in one place you're saying Z and in another place you're saying S, then you are confusing the styles. This is not accepted. Such a small change, which we can learn when we are young, when we are students, will last us throughout our life. Because correctness is impressive. By making mistakes, we lose our language hold. We can learn this from this story. When we learn also vocabulary, you can see how nicely the vocabulary items are used here. You find in the first line, once a man entered a wood. Now the word WOOD, I'm sitting on a chair, you can easily see. We say the chair is made of wood. Then how can a man enter a wood? Question. What is this wood which a man can enter? The man is not a worm which can go inside, eat up the chair and go inside the wood. No, the word wood has another meaning here, and that is a forest. So we learn vocabulary like this. We learn what is the meaning of the word. So the word wood has the meaning, and that is the part of the tree from which furniture is made. So I say that this table is made of wood, this chair is made of wood. That is one wood. The other wood is a totally different meaning. It is not a part of a tree, but it is a collection of thousands of trees in one place, and we call it as a wood. So this word is used again and again in the story 2-3 times, and it does not mean wood as a material, but it means wood as a huge place, which we call a forest. Now, such words which have more than one meaning, we have a word called homonym, more than one meaning. The meaning is more than one. So first we understand what is the meaning of the word, then we search for the other meaning. For instance, when I use a word like book, if I'm reading something, I say book. I mean those pages which are printed, or on our Kindle, we can get an e-book. That is a book, B-O-O-K. Without changing the spelling, without changing this pronunciation, we can use it for many other meanings. Suppose you go to get yourself a ticket in a train or a bus. Then you say, I book a ticket. Now you're using verb book, meaning to do something, that is to get yourself a ticket. Word is the same, but noun book, which you read, and verb book, which you have. Now the verb has other meanings also. Suppose a student is cheating in the examination. Suppose somebody has committed a crime, stealing or doing something bad. then they are booked. You know, you book a student who's been found cheating. You book a thief who has stolen money from somebody. So this word book is different from buying the ticket. It is to take some legal action. So we have these kind of words, one word, but with multiple meanings. When you look at your dictionary, you find that the different meanings of a single word are given by numbering them. Sometimes the word might have 2, 3 different meanings. All of them same spelling, same pronunciation, but completely different meaning. Then you have, of course, the verb, the form of the word, like contradict. We can learn synonyms and antonyms in vocabulary from this. A synonym is a word which has similar meaning. The meaning is not exactly the same, but it is similar. You might remember I said that very often when we have difference of opinion, we quarrel. The word is there, quarreling. Again, you have to look at the spelling, because spelling here is one L. You will find double L spelling also. Since I've now told you about British and American spelling, I'm sure you will check up the spelling of the word quarreling. Now, instead of saying quarreling, I used 2 other words. I said quarrel, fight, and conflict. Now, fight and conflict are the synonyms of the word quarrel. Contradict, we have the word. So instead of saying contradict, we can say oppose, or we can say disagree. What I'm giving you is synonyms. Now, the word disagree has another word, agree. By agree, if you add dis, it becomes disagree. So agree and disagree are what we call as opposite to each other. That is antonym. So when we say quarreling, you know, we might have an opposite. It might not be an exact opposite. So we have a word which means exactly the opposite. So quarrel can be opposite amity. Amity is friendship. So friendship and quarrel, they become opposite of each other. Now we also have a word, you know, like correct. So the word all of you are correct. The person who's sitting under the tree, you know, he's the most knowledgeable person because he has seen the animal throughout. He knows the animal. So this person, this knowledgeable person, he says, you are correct. So if we want to look for synonyms of correct, then we say you are right. But we can also say antonym, opposite, you are wrong. So correct synonym would be right, correct antonym would be wrong, right also synonym would be wrong, correct also synonym would be wrong. A better synonym can be made by adding what we call prefix. Prefix is a wonderful vocabulary item. So we say incorrect, you add in. Like I said, disagree, D-I-S. Dis is addition in front. When we add in front, we say prefix. When we add at the back, we say suffix. Like you have so many suffixes here. Contradict is a word, we added ed to make it past tense. So it became contradicted. So that is called suffix, adding at the end. But if you add at the beginning, then, you know, contend. Contend is to say with a lot of force. So to insist, another word, synonym, you know, so contend. We said contended, ed, so suffix. Similarly, we can have incorrect. Incorrect, where correct is the word, incorrect is the antonym. Look at the word color, colorless. We have the word. So how did we make the opposite color? We made colorless by adding suffix. We did not add less color. We did not add prefix. We added something at the end. So if you learn prefixes and suffixes, you will be able to learn hundreds of words by a single prefix. Suppose you take the word free, then you can get many words which start with, the word pre. Or you take the word auto, you can get many, many words with auto. So by learning one prefix, pre, or by learning one prefix, auto, you're increasing your vocabulary by many hundred words. Very often, learners of a language want to improve their vocabulary, because if we have a vocabulary which is very vast, we can speak easily. Then we don't have to think all the time. Whenever the thought comes, we are able to express it in words because we have enough words in our mind. But many people feel that they do not know how this vocabulary can be enhanced. So I'm telling you all these methods of vocabulary enhancement. I spoke to you about spellings earlier also. Today again, I mentioned spelling. Today I also mentioned vocabulary. Now look at the word, another word in vocabulary, and that is changing the meaning by change of a preposition. Now look at the word quarreling among themselves. Now the moment the word among comes, which is a preposition, we know that more than two people are there. If there are 3, 4, 5 people, only we say among. But sometimes quarrel is between two people. Then how do we show this? Vocabulary has to change. The word has to change. So we say quarreling between themselves. So if I say quarreling between themselves, then we would have only two men. One man saying it is red in color, one man saying it is yellow in color, and both of them disagreeing, or both of them fighting, or both of them creating a conflict. But there are not two people. Other people have also come. They have said, that it is blue, green, violet, and so on. So now we know at least there are 5 people because 5 colors are mentioned. So when 5 people are quarreling, it is quarreling among themselves. Whereas if 2 are doing it, it is quarreling between themselves. When we are aware of how the meaning changes with such a simple change, then we do not make any difference. I'm sure you remember the story of, Draupadi marrying the 5 brothers. How did it happen? Arjuna won Draupadi and brought. Without seeing what it was, their mother said, divide it amongst yourselves. There were 5 brothers. So she did not say, divide it between yourself, or she did not say, Arjuna, you keep your bride. She did not know it was a bride. She says, Mother, I have got you a gift. What is that gift? The gift is the new bride. Without seeing, without coming out, she said, divide it among yourself. Why did she say among? Because she knew she had 5 children. She had 5 sons. That is how Draupadi, we are told in the Mahabharata, gets to marry. So when we look at these structures and when we compare it to what we know, then our, vocabulary improves. You can immediately see how the vocabulary improves when we look at each word, when we look at each expression, when we look at words which look familiar, like the word good. but we might not have come across wood is equal to forest. That we might not have come across before. So we have to immediately think, how is it that we are going to improve? Simple words, simple expressions, when we put them together in a sentence, we find that we are learning English well. You might see in this passage, some sentences are long, some are very short. Look at the first sentence. Once a man entered a wood and saw a small animal on a tree. Such a long sentence. Then you have another sentence. They started quarreling amongst themselves. Such a short sentence. Now, you can see how the sentence length also keeps the story interesting. So when you speak, when you write, when you make a presentation to others, when you are in conversation, always remember that the variety of your English, the ability to express, not use big words. You know, many people think vocabulary means using very big words. That is not necessary at all. You can use simple words, effective words, the right word in the right context. If you are speaking to people who are very high level, very sophisticated in a subject which is your own, you can use a high vocabulary. You're talking to small children, use a simple vocabulary, but your variety of words, your ability to use 2, 3 different words for a single expression, these show you that your vocabulary is good. So we have one basic level of vocabulary. We have one advanced level of vocabulary. Words which are in the front of our mind, we call active vocabulary. Words which are there in our back of our mind. That means that we know the word, approximately we can guess, but we never use that word in our life. So that is passive vocabulary. Now the aim is for you to improve your active vocabulary. Let the passive be all right. Don't make your passive vocabulary huge. People, youngsters who go for competitive exams have a huge passive vocabulary, but their active vocabulary doesn't improve. That is why they can't use the language, which in the examination they have got very correct, but in real life they are not able to use. These are very simple stories, and there are many, many more stories. So when you look at all of them, you will find that you are learning a lot and your vocabulary is becoming better. So if we do all this, we immediately find that the stories not only teach us to be good, not only teach us what is right behavior, but they also tell us a lot about language. As I told you, you can read it in your own language because the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is available in many, many languages. Once you look at all these languages, and then you also look at the English version, which we have in the Tales and Parables volume, which I showed you, then you will find that there are many methods of learning English. We shall continue the story in the next part. Let us talk about the values, the ideas which help us to live better. Namaste and see you later.